behavior was in question. A woman has filed a lawsuit against Akua for biting her and making anti-Semitic comments. The rehab decision for Tiger comes 5 days after he was involved in a car crash near his home on Jupiter Island in Florida. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, yo, come on.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah,
gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
KBLA Talk 1580, happy solar return, the heavenly one, to the great Marvin Gaye. Still sounds so good. That's just talent. That's just talent. All right, it's time to talk tech, and we are getting to that. I'm happy to have now regular segment. We'll hear regularly on this show from TEC Leimert. It's part of our Think Tank Thursday initiative to think a little bit more about all things that are changing around us from the standpoint of everything from AI to computers to just the day-to-day ways that all of these things impact our lives. We're being joined now by a creative producer and director of photography. She's worked in the entertainment industry, arts design, creative producing, digital marketing, and production management, art direction, and film and TV production. Paris McCoy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a good morning. It's a Thursday morning. We're moving and grooving. We're already in action over here at TEC Leimert.
Okay. Yeah, I know you guys work on a lot of things. You get a lot of things done. You are, of course, the executive director over there. And one of the things that people talk a lot about lately when it comes to tech is job opportunities. Oh, I'm scared. I'm going to lose my job to AI. Everyone's losing their jobs to AI. The future is this. The future is that. I find most of the time when we make these predictions, we turn out to be wrong, whatever it is, from Y2K to now. But I do think that whether it's through AI or software or coding or innovative design, the entertainment business does have a lot of job opportunities and career paths emerging that involve tech, does it not?
It does. When we talk about like the independent creative, technology has a lot of tech tools have afforded a lot of independent creators to, really forge their own road to jobs and projects, et cetera.
Right, because you can do more with a little staff, which is the story of Black America. I was reflecting on that
Right,
this
right.
morning. Not just in entertainment and everything, turning a dollar and 15 cents into a dollar, and on it goes. But so as a small creator, you can do more with less using tools like AI, using software. But I'm also referencing the seemingly affordability proof gaming industry.
Yes. There's a lot of spaces in the gaming space where artists are able to cross cross different paths of like their artistry. So like for example, an artist can be an independent music artist, but then they also can like roll into gaming, etc. So there's a lot of ways that creatives can diversify their portfolio, etc.
Right. And diversify their portfolio um, as artists, but also if you're thinking about like, what are the jobs of the future? It seems like ever since my child was little, which is 20 years ago, well, when he was not when he was I should say probably 15 years ago, when he was old enough to think about games, that's been pretty steady, even as the technology changes. This idea of the gamification of everything and the entertainment value of tech has been steady.
Absolutely. It has been steady. Technology and entertainment have gone hand in hand. Even when we're talking about different ways that the film industry has been advanced in ways that people are able to find jobs through technology and different ways of doing things. But yes, like technology has always advanced the entertainment industry, and has always given people in the entertainment industry a way to pivot in what they're doing in their careers.
Yep. And so, and that this is the land of the entertainment industry and the land of pivoting, if you talk about the West Coast. But I know this is also relevant whether now we have the entertainment industry even more spread out with television production and film production taking place in Atlanta and Vancouver and New Mexico, and whoever is willing to give a tax break, or whoever is willing to bust a union, um, they're they're
For
migrating.
sure.
They're migrating there. But what about all the, of course, creators, and we're going to talk about that because you guys have a project out now that's highlighting some producers here in Los Angeles. But even below the line, what about people that are not necessarily the rapper, the producer, the actor, the director, people who are more behind the scenes? Are the opportunities still there, or is it just AI's world now?
It's definitely not AI's world. I think the last time that we talked, I definitely brought up some conversation around the development of what agentic AI is. And agentic AI is designed to, use AI as like a coworker, right? To help like the independent, or to help someone uh, expand what they can do. I know that it is a touchy, very, very touchy and complex conversation about AI right now in the workplace. Seeing as how we just had like a massive layoff yesterday in
Yeah.
with Oracle. So there's like that was 30,000 jobs, I believe, gone. So like there's a lot that's going on, and a lot of conversation to be had as far as like how AI is impacting the workplace. Um, so there's that. So it's not fully in AI's world, but there's a lot to be discussed around that, right? But I also think that there's like behind the scenes, there's still jobs and opportunities when it comes to the entertainment space, and like that's a part of what TEC Leimert puts a lot of energy and upskilling into, because we want people to understand that there is space there, and these tools in the background. Allow for them to find those jobs behind the scenes when you're not just the creative. So like, for instance, I spoke to a woman yesterday who works at Disney, really, very, very intelligent, but she does a lot of their data and their data analytics. And she uses a lot of tech tools and like CRM tools to go through their data. And it goes way beyond what I'm talking about because they have massive amounts of data, but that's all like a tech job. She started it out in tech. So there are spaces and places that's not just like the forward-facing, front-facing creative where you can utilize these tech tools and be in the in the entertainment industry still. For instance, like with marketing, like that woman that I spoke to, she is in the marketing space, but she's dealing with a lot of their data. So there's some interesting ways that you could like pivot and figure out and find spaces within the entertainment industry that's not necessarily like in front of the camera, et cetera.
Yeah, and which are not necessarily going obsolete. I mean, what I took away from Oracle, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I don't pretend to be a tech expert, is that they're saying they're moving away from software because AI is replacing a lot of this software. It's not just humans that's replacing, and they're moving their investment or their focus over to artificial intelligence.
Well, in my opinion, AI is software in and of itself. It's still a tool. It is a type of software, and it's designed to stimulate the behavior or the things that you're doing. So like, learning, reasoning, problem solving, like AI, if you're not using AI in the workspace for those things, then in my opinion, I think that you're massively misusing AI. But AI to me is still a type of software, and you still need humans to manage and utilize the software. So that's where I think like that's where the separation in my mind goes when it comes to like AI taking over. You still need humans to operate AI and to utilize AI and to still understand it. So we're not obsolete. We're never going to be obsolete as human beings.
Right. No, I wasn't trying to make that point. The point I was making that Oracle is saying we're putting our money into artificial intelligence or our resources. We're going to lay off all these people because supposedly they're more in the software area. But it leaves for me it leaves a bad taste because you have all this money to buy basically the entire U.S. media landscape, but you don't have money to keep people working. And what it also made me start to think about is really maybe the reason they really want Warner Brothers and all of these media outlets is to get more and more material to train AI.
That I can't speak on if that's actually going to happen or not happen. I mean, Oracle, the reason that's been publicly expressed as to why Oracle laid off all of these people is because they wanted to actually conserve money. It wasn't necessarily because these people that they laid off were more focused on software or working in the software space, or that's what they spent their entire career training on. The reason that it was reported that they laid off that amount of people because they wanted to conserve money, they wanted to put more money into data centers, and that's a whole different conversation. They wanted to find more ways to house the computation of the AI, not because those people who were doing software were obsolete. I think that when it comes to like the Warner Brothers and Zaslav is a word right now when it comes to like all of these mergers and acquisitions, et cetera. I can't fully say what was the full motivation behind that in the entertainment industry. I don't know if it's because they want to train the AI on all of the digital images and all the content that we have. I mean, they essentially own this content, so they can do that anyway. I think that the real reason why these layoffs are happening and these mergers are happening, we're not behind the corporate veil. We're not in the rooms when they're having these conversations. And I think that through investigative reporting down the line, we will find out what the real reason is behind these mass layoffs. I mean, if it's a reason beyond trying to like just buy land and build like larger and larger data centers, which has a whole other environmental context and impact. There could be deeper reasons beyond that, which we won't know immediately, but we will find out over time. And then in the entertainment industry, we'll see over time. Like time will tell us what they're training like their AI systems on, as far as like the imagery, et cetera.
Yeah, I feel that. I do think, though, that they always say it's cost cutting. Like that's the default. Every corporation ever that laid off a lot of employees, that's all they say. Oh, it's cost cutting because that sounds good. We're cutting down on waste and fraud, waste and fraud, waste and fraud. Well, they don't say fraud so much, but that's government. But in corporations, they always say we're tightening belts. We have a great new project coming out from you that we will hear about, speaking of tech and the entertainment space. And there's lots more to unpack. Tech now is in every single aspect of our lives. Maybe I shouldn't say now. It's been that way for a while. But it feels more that way than ever with the tech barons moving into media, taking over studios, moving into weapons of war, and even our IRS taxes. We are talking with Paris McCoy, Executive Director at TEC Leimert. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, black voices, black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up.
Paid for by government. The 1986 to 2021 United States Silver Eagle, the first ever U.S. silver dollar minted in 99.9% pure silver and is the best-selling coin in the world. These original and historic silver dollars have ceased production forever. They will never be minted again. For a limited time only, full-pound bags of original U.S. government-struck silver dollars are being released to the public. You can own a full pound of original U.S. silver dollar coins featuring Lady Liberty and the heraldic eagle, never to be struck again. NextGen, guaranteed. Call now to secure original United States Silver Eagles by the pound. The first U.S. silver dollars ever to be struck in 99.9% pure silver. Plus, receive a free bonus, an American Collector's Pack valued at over $40 and free shipping with every order. Call 1-800-560-6468 now to secure your full pound bag of United States Silver Eagle coins before they are gone. That's 1-800-560-6468.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. We're talking with Paris McCoy, the Executive Director of TEC Leimert, and Charles is on the phone. Mr. Charles, known among the African Focus Trailblazers as Number One. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, Tavis Smiley, and good morning, Miles. I'm so happy. Today is my 81st birthday.
What? Happy birthday. Same birthday as Marvin Gaye. Happy birthday, Number One.
Yes, Marvin Gaye and Rodney King.
Oh, Rodney King's B-Day also. Okay.
Yes. And I had to play. I met Marvin Gaye's mom years ago because my cousin used to trim their trees and so forth. But anyway, it's a blessed day, and always listening to KBLA. And KBLA will always be in my mind. When my mom passed 3 years ago, at the cemetery, the man said, "This is the plot your mom's going to be in." He said, "It's 1580. I said, "Oh, come on, Tavis and Dominique and Miles. 1580, that's what my mom's plot is."
Oh, rest in peace to your mama. Rest in peace to your mama. And Charles, I know you're a legendary cinematographer yourself. So, Paris McCoy and yourself in the same space as far as the entertainment business and the work that you do through your camera lens. But yet, you're 81 and Paris, I believe, is a millennial, so two different ends of the same lens. Any words on that quickly, Mr. Charles, Number One?
Well, let me tell you real quick. Charles Burnett, the great filmmaker, director and stuff, he and I go back to Fremont High School, 1961. We did a movie called Killer of Sheep, and it's in the National Film Registry, which is like the Hall of Fame in Washington, D.C. Charles wrote it, directed it, and produced it. I acted off in it, and I'm also in the Hall of Fame as the sound person.
All right, Mr.
Movie, yeah. And then, I had a 5-year run on Lou Grant with Ed Asner as an actor. I did the Mary Tyler Moore Comedy Hour, and I built the movie sets for Hook, Contact, Men in Black, Girlfriends, Frasier, Arachnophobia, and all that stuff. So life has really been good to me. I'm in SAG for, 50 years now. And also in the Guild for building movie sets. So it's a blessing. I got in at the right time. I got out at the right time. I got great medical benefits thanks to, God and everything. But
thanks to God and the union. Well, Charles Bracey, happy birthday to you. Happy, congratulations on all your success. Paris McCoy, you were going to jump in here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I am an elder millennial and just really grateful to the work that Charles Burnett has done. And this Charles, Killer of Sheep, is something that, when I first started learning film, and it was just transitioning from like an analog practice to a digital practice, my professors at Howard still gave me a copy of Killer of Sheep. And so we use the work, or we look at the work of the greats like Charles Burnett. And at that time, when Charles Burnett was doing Killer of Sheep and that whole crew, that was a form of technology as well. They were really independent filmmakers figuring out and using the tools that they had to advance the medium and the art form.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm
in the digital space.
Yeah.
I use that as inspiration.
Well, it's interesting to see this evolution. We've seen so much change, or I know I have during my lifetime. When I started at KRON TV as on-camera talent, and I grew into being a producer writer there. We were still shooting on 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch tape.
Wow.
And then we went
Yeah.
to Betacam, and then by the time I left, they were moving toward digital. But the man that was shooting, Dick Williams, my original photographer, videographer, started on television shooting TV news on film. Right? So all of that has happened within the course of one lifetime, and here we are all digital. And what I'm hearing you say is even Mr. Charles Bracey's work that he did with Mr. Charles Burnett on The Killer of Sheep is being used to train the real intelligence, which is folks like yourself.
Absolutely. It's to train the human intelligence, because one thing that we talk about all the time at TEC Leimert and that we want to keep clear is that human intelligence reigns supreme. We work with the technology. We figure and technology, working with the technology in our art, in all the art forms, is how we come up with innovation. Like, we're using technology to solve problems, to solve creative problems in entertainment. So it's not like the analog way of doing things. Like, that's still very, very vital and valuable to us, because it's training our brain to understand like the true art form and the true art practice of a medium like film or music and so forth and so on. And it's really true storytelling. Like, that's still what's really important.
Yeah, I think that's right. I always say, if you're boring in real life, you'll be boring on Facebook. You'll be boring in Instagram.
Be boring. Exactly.
You'll be boring on TikTok.
My grandma used to always tell me. Yeah, she's like, be interesting. Like, with everything that you do, be interesting and don't do things just for shock value, but be interesting. So constantly, like that's the analog practice is, you got to be interesting. You can't tell a story just off of like technology skills,
Yeah, agreed. We only have a minute here until news, traffic, and sports. But let's go to Rashidi calling us from L.A. Hi, Rashidi.
Hey, ladies. Good morning.
Good
How
morning.
you doing? I'm loving this conversation, so I had to call in and chime in here. So, as you know, I'm a member of TEC Leimert, and I want to thank you, Dominique, for giving TEC Leimert the platform to talk about technology in our community. It's so needed and appreciated. And I wanted to thank Paris, as executive director of TEC Leimert. It was important to see a Black woman and technologist in this position, and I just wanted to applaud her and her work. But I was inspired to call in because you guys were talking about something that really struck a chord with me, Dominique. It was around your question, and I just want to kind of put this out there, like in tech and with Oracle, like software engineers are becoming obsolete in the sense that tech is AI is coding itself. Right, and so what was a high, demand field of software engineering to code is now becoming something that's less in demand, and so you see companies kind of scaling back. And I just wanted Paris to kind of maybe talk about or highlight why TEC Leimert's kind of premise of that intersection of tech and creativity sits outside of something like that, and why it's important for our community.
What a perfect setup. We've got news, traffic, and sports, and we're going to hear some of the latest creative juices, some of the latest creative music coming out of TEC Leimert, and talk about exactly what Rashidi teed up. That's all straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump was inside the Supreme Court on Wednesday for oral arguments over birthright citizenship. White House correspondent and lawyer John Decker was there.
It was the first time that a sitting president has attended oral arguments at the Supreme Court, and it was surreal.
Decker says he wouldn't be surprised if the justices ruled against President Trump when they announced their decision. A new investigation reveals 2 Black women in Florida were forced into C-sections they did not want. Judges ruled doctors could override their decisions during labor despite their health concerns. A judge ruled the women could keep laboring, but if conditions worsened, doctors could operate. And Eddie Murphy will receive the AFI Lifetime Achievement Award, airing live on Netflix for the first time. The tribute honors Murphy's groundbreaking career and box office success and premieres May 31st. This is the first year the special will be televised on the streamer. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Did you know April is National Car Care Month? Head to your local Big O Tires for great deals like this. Now, get a synthetic oil change starting at only $39.99, including tire rotation. Plus, get a free multi-point vehicle inspection, too. Find your nearest Big O at BigOTires.com.
Is this the Tiger? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The word of the day in sports this morning is rehab. Tiger Woods announced he's going to a rehab facility outside of the U.S. for unspecified treatment and to focus on his health. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua is entering a rehab facility. An attorney for Nacua said the 3-year veteran is enrolling in a rehab program to improve his overall behavior in every aspect of his life. Representatives for Tiger and Nacua did not disclose the nature of their treatment or the name and location of their rehab facility. Nacua, who led the NFL in catches last season, has been involved in several situations where his behavior was in question. A woman has filed a lawsuit against Nacua for biting her and making anti-Semitic comments. The rehab decision for Tiger comes 5 days after he was involved in a car crash near his home on Jupiter Island in Florida. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
We're at Doolin's on Crenshaw. It's a special place where the neighborhood comes together. Got the fried chicken, the catfish, the candied yams, the mac and cheese. It's all delicious. I'm Isaac Bryan. I represent the Crenshaw District in the California State Legislature, and I'm supporting Tom Steyer for governor of California. California is under attack, and we need a fighter who's going to come in on day one and stand up for California values and push back. That person is Tom Steyer. Tom and I have been fighting together for the better part of a decade. Tom is the only candidate supported by smart justice because Tom has stood on the front lines of racial justice, economic justice, and true solidarity. Tom is the real deal. He's the only candidate in the race with a comprehensive plan to make the billionaires and the corporations pay their fair share so we can fund things like universal health care and education. He means what he says, and he does what we need. This is a moment when we've got to fight fire with fire, and I believe that fire is Tom Steyer.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey, LA. Tax money is our money. Let's decide how to spend it together. We deserve investments that actually make our neighborhoods safe, like affordable housing, good jobs, fire prevention and protection, and community support programs. How can we make that happen? Join Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and the Movement for Black Lives for the People's Budget Assembly on April 16th. Together, we'll discuss solutions to problems we're facing and make a plan with fellow Angelenos
for a city that works for the people. There'll be food, childcare, and great conversation. It's time to demand a budget that puts the people first. Join us on April 16th at 7 p.m. at BLMLA's Center for Black Power and make your voice heard before the Assembly through the People's Budget Survey. Register today at peoplesbudgetla.com. We'll see you there.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Leg Day by Ant Walker is the song. What is that? It's the TEC Leimert drop. Their audio effects series, Beat Tape Volume 2, is here right now with 13 emerging producers from LA's beat community. They were picked from over 80 producers, and they were handpicked by DJ Battlecat. Wow. Ant Walker, Nino Beige, Yonka, Chase Flow, Gage B, Khalif, DJ Mike, Nomad 280, Koi, Cadence, Prez, Dot Morris, Alpha, Sir Jazz, and Yara. Take it away, McCoy, Miss Paris McCoy. What are we hearing, and what is the purpose of this?
Oh yeah, that's our audio effect beat tape volume 2, and it was a very wonderful journey with our music technology program, spearheaded by our director of music tech, Camille Davis, who's been working with our producers for the second time in a row. This is our second beat tape. We've done volume 1, so it's been a definitely a proud moment for TEC Leimert to be able to press this vinyl, and it's a perfect example of how digital and analog meet. And one of the main reasons why TEC Leimert does what it does is to bridge that gap, that technology gap, and to create resources for artists to utilize technology to move their artistry forward.
And it says they shaped the ideas using Serato Studio Sample and Hex FX. So I'm guessing that this is where the technology part comes into this particular project.
Absolutely. Serato is a tech company, actually, and it's a software development company, and they develop a lot of software for DJs, producers, etc. This is their version of a DAW, which is, digital music making interfaces. And so we've been working with Serato since, I believe, 2023. And a part of this, and these beat tapes have come out of that process. One of the interesting things is that, like, when our producers engage in the program, in the audio effect program, they're really using these tools. They're doing a form of R&D with Serato to make sure that their technology software and their tech tools for music are up to date and they are of industry standards. So our producers have a lot of weight in and a lot of knowledge of, to share and to gain from Serato as well, as to how, technology can really intersect with the interface of music making.
So how does this, you say one of the missions, I guess, of TEC Leimert, you guys have a lot of missions, right? And we should probably talk more and more specifically about what some of those are, but putting the spotlight on producers of color, Black, Latino, and others who are emerging, how does that, what do you hope to come from that? And why is that important? Because one of the things that I've noticed, just like ever since television and film production went digital, ever since even before that, music went digital, everybody's a producer, everybody's a director, everybody's a creator. So why is it important to spotlight certain talents here?
Well, that goes back to like TEC Leimert does have a lot of missions, but we have one main mission, and that is to amplify, work through, upskill at the intersection of creativity and tech. When things become digital, this is just the example with filmmaking, with music, et cetera. When things become digital and these tools become available to everyone, that's when the storytelling piece becomes an amplification. Meaning, as we talked about earlier, if you're boring and you can't tell a story, it doesn't matter how many tech tools you have. It doesn't matter how many analog tools you have. If you don't know your craft, if you don't have that human intelligence, then your work is not gonna land with your audience, right? So we definitely want to make sure that our main mission is amplified, and that is understand how to use these tools to amplify your creativity, to amplify your storytelling, to amplify how you will remain in the workforce with technology. Again, like I can't express that enough, is that all of the tech is tools. You train on the tools, you learn the tools, and you have a tool belt. You have a literal tool belt, and you can say, hey, I want to use Suno to amplify like my background vocals, or to amplify like this guitar riff that I want to use in my beat that I already created in the analog space, but I want to do some different things to it. I want to expand my thoughts on how to reproduce this particular guitar riff. Then that's how I'll use the AI or the technology or any other technology platform or tool. Not just in the AI space. So like we really show creatives, and we really want to work with creatives to understand how to use technology within their creative process. But you own the creative process, like the human owns the creative process. And these tools and technology supports that.
I was talking to someone who I won't disclose their name because I'm not at liberty to do so. But well, no, it's not a no. They were kind of a well-known artist, and I just don't like putting people's business on the street without permission. I'm the opposite of Wendy Williams. Let me put it that way. It's just that they were saying that the tech that their engineer suggested that they use AI and ask AI to give them a version of themselves doing a song. In other words, imagine you're Aretha Franklin. I'll use that example because everyone knows it ain't her. And you say, hey, whatever, Claude or whatever, give me an Aretha Franklin style song with the following. And that came back, and the artist was telling me that they found it silly. And they found it, but silly and low bar, as far as the quality level. But again, and Miles always says this because he uses AI a lot, that it's all about the quality of what you put in and how you actually prepare the technology to deliver what you want, that we're not relying on it for content as much as structure.
Exactly. That's exactly the standpoint that I personally take, and a lot of people that are in the creative space in different mediums talk about using it. It's all about your intention and how you want to use it. That artist particularly didn't feel comfortable using AI, and they didn't like it. They didn't like the idea of it, and that's fine. But that's a choice. That's a choice that an artist and creative
I don't think they didn't like the idea. I think they didn't like what came back. I think they didn't like what came back. They didn't like what came back. They said it was silly and it had a low bar. But so that's why I was pointing out what Miles always tells me. Well, garbage in, garbage out.
The quality of it.
Yeah, right.
But again, that's all in how the person utilizes the tool of AI. Like maybe they didn't prompt it right, or I don't know what they did, but it there's a lot of effort that you, the person, have to put into the AI to get what you want back. That's quality, because AI can give you a lot of, like, for lack of a better word, junk, but it really is how you work with the technology. And so, like, that's what, at TEC Leimert, when we talk about, like, how do you work with this technology to get what you want back? I mean, that was junk for that particular artist because they didn't like what came back and came out. But there's a lot of artists who use different forms of AI technology in music, and they do like what they get back. They actually work with it. And so, like, that skill set of, again, like, how do you work with the AI tool? How do you layer that into your creativity? And you can't rely completely on AI to be your creative engine. You just can't do that. So when you do that and when you rely on it too much, you will get junk back, because AI hallucinates. There's a lot of things that come out of AI software that's just not good, but it's really how you make it good and how you make it good for what your project is. So that's the kind of a delineation that we want to talk about, as far as, like, don't rely on these tools too much. I use AI a lot for research, a lot of deep research that I couldn't do in like 5 minutes or even like 5 hours. Like, there was a producer that I know that wanted to pull some video from all the TED Talks. So they were working with TED TED was their client to create like a little commercial spot. They used AI to deep research every single TED video that was available to them to come up with some some through lines and some clear topics from all of these TED Talks. That's what AI is really great for.
Right, but when
Not
you
to
say research,
actually
you're not
create the
talking about
video.
using it as a Google searcher because of the hallucination. I mean, I've been testing that lately. That's not what you mean by research.
No. I mean, like, when you're talking with like particular AI things, like, for instance, Perplexity, and you get into a deep conversation, you still have to fact check what AI gives back to you. We're talking about utilizing AI to be like your eyes on like thousands and thousands of like research tools or topics, or like, different things. Like, it does deep research, but when it kicks back answers to you, you still have to be knowledgeable enough of the subject to be able to read with the AI and really understand and make sure that it's not hallucinating, that it's giving you back some facts.
Mm. Well said. So what's the next step for this project, this TEC Leimert audio effects series, these producers, this art? What will happen to it next?
Well, it will serve as a community creative project that has been built and designed by the community. Like, the audio effect has some really wonderful musical connections to it. Like, some of our instructors was down from like True Sound, who's always in the Leimert Park in the community space. Lena Fornia, she was one of our instructors. Some of these producers are homebred. And we want to make sure that the audio effect remains a place where music producers, artists can talk about their art and then expand it within the spaces of technology. One of the things that, like, the producers, the producers and our director of music technology, they all, like, it's a community. They connect, they talk, they do things outside of this album, because this album has created a community. They're going to be doing things for 404 Day, which, if you know anything about music and beat making and technology, that's the SP 404. It has its own day where where beat makers all around the world celebrate this device that is technology based, that revolutionized beat making and sound making in the music industry. So they're all going to be connecting and doing that. And we're looking at our next season of the audio effect. We're really working on behind the scenes on what that's going to look like. We don't know. It might be a volume 3. It might be a different form of a music media project, but we're working on the background on what's going to be next for the audio effect.
Talking with Paris McCoy, Executive Director of TEC Leimert. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. Tab
They say time flies when you're having fun. The founding members cohort is now officially over. Hard to believe. It's been a joy sharing what I've discovered after nearly 40 years of conversations with presidents, cultural icons, and game changers in every field of human endeavor. If you missed the first cohort, the good news is that we're already planning the next one. Now, the seats will be limited, and those on our waiting list will receive exclusive early access and special discounts not available to the general public. So, if you are ready to transform the way you connect, lead, and build trust, do not hesitate. Go to TavishTalks.com and join the waiting list today. That's TavishTalks.com. The next cohort is coming. Make sure you are in the room. I'm Tavish Smiley, and I hope to see you there.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Created with a share of the 1984 Olympic Games surplus, LA 84 began operations in 1985 as a grant-making and educational foundation. Today, the LA 84 Foundation supports hundreds of nonprofit youth sports organizations throughout Southern California annually, trains coaches, commissions research, convenes conferences, and maintains the world's premier Olympic and sports library collection. They are transforming lives and communities through the power of youth sports. To find out about youth sports programs for yourself or your child, and to get information about the grants and support they offer to schools and nonprofits, or if you want to make a donation, please visit la84.org. That's la84.org. Or you can call them at 323-730-4600. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
We are talking with Paris McCoy, Executive Director of TEC Leimert, and we are starting to see, you mentioned Oracle, but there are others. We're starting to see those layoffs hit the entertainment industry, and we're starting to see them hit the tech industry. And one analysis that I was reading seemed to conclude that a lot of these layoffs are not really cost cutting. They're not even really software. They're meant to justify the massive investment in AI. And you mentioned Absolutely. The data centers, which is a whole other show, maybe for another day. But because these ginormous corporate behemoths have spent so much money and so much of the planet's resources on AI, it's almost like they have to push it, whether it's good and lives up to everything they say it will do or not.
They do have to push it because, this is where we're headed. This is where we are. It's not even about heading somewhere. This is where we are overall as a society, on where we're using technology. AI is not going anywhere. And I think I said this like the last call that we had. I'm in this class with some people, and we're building AI agents, and we're deep diving into the ethical use as far as like what we have control over on our end. And someone in the class asked, when do we can we just turn it off?
Right.
Can we just flip the switch off? And they asked someone who actually is. We had a guest speaker, and it was actually a large figure in OpenAI, and they asked, can we turn it off? And the answer was a resounding no. This cannot be turned off. We're beyond that point. We're past that point. And that's not to fear monger anyone, but it is a very reality that it's something that if we have to learn, and we have to figure out our guardrails on how we're going to interact with it. So yes, whatever investment, whether AI works or not, it's working, but it's working for who, and it's working in what manner. We talk about AI for good. We talk about technology for good. That still has weight. and there's still conversation around it. But it's not being turned off. It's not going anywhere. So
I
we, as
understand
a society,
that.
how do we interact with
Can you turn it off? Can you unplug it? Well, if they ruin the planet or we run out of energy, how will it run?
Well, how will it run? If we run out of energy, how will it run in our country? Sure, but it's running very well in other spaces and other places. So if in our country, it's like this,
Well, when I say run out of energy, I'm being sort of hyperbolic, but I'm not just talking about our country. I'm talking about the planet. I mean, data centers are all over the world. Morris is in the chat asking me, do we even need humans anymore? Does AI reproduce? And from what I've read, that now it can replicate itself.
Yeah, it can replicate itself. Like that's where the agentic AI field is going. But we still need humans. There's still humans that need to manage the AI agents. I want to be, at least my stance and my viewpoint is that humans are going to always be necessary. And if we run out of power and all of the earth is without electricity to run the AI, I think we have a much bigger problem than the AI. Like we're in the dark.
We're Cuba right now. But my point was really about this idea that we can't unplug it. It needs energy. It needs power.
Mm-hmm. And as long as there's energy sources available on Earth, someone is. And my point about that was that someone's going to keep it running. That's not us. So as far as when I say us, I'm talking about people who are not the large companies that are building this technology and pushing it forward. They're going to keep it running no matter what. They have to keep it running. So there's no turning it off in that sense, because AI is not just in the creative space, it's in every part of our lives, from our medical systems to our food systems. I mean, you think about it, it's touched every single place of it. We're thinking about it from the workforce perspective of entertainment and technology. It's there because it came from technology, so it's amplified, but it's in all of our everyday lives, and it's been in our everyday lives. We're just now talking about it on this mass scale.
That's right. It crept up on us. We just got 30 seconds here. Paris McCoy, remind us how to stay in touch with TEC Leimert.
Yeah, just find us on Instagram, at TEC Leimert. On IG, we're ramping back up with a lot of programming, a lot of events. So we're working with small businesses. We're doing some programming in the civic space. So there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be popping up on our IG with events. So stay in touch with us there.
Great. Thank you so much, Paris McCoy. We'll look forward to doing it next month.
Yeah, we actually have an episode coming up for Earth Day, and that particular episode we're going to have some guests there. So
okay,
we'll be talking about and offlining about
Perfect.
that.
Got to leave it there. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got a great show on deck for you. Don't forget to tap in with TEC Leimert, but also with KBLA 1580 on all platforms, and of course myself, DePrima Radio. Like my father, the late great Amiri Baraka, used to say, a man is either free, a woman is either free, or she is not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Until tomorrow, KBLA delegation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump was inside the Supreme Court on Wednesday for oral arguments over birthright citizenship. White House correspondent and lawyer John